Star Trek Legacy. The Star Trek the fans really want. Will it happen? Will Kurtzman do it? Or does Skydance, the new owners of Paramount, have a better idea? Welcome to the Tach Impulse podcast.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
So I told you guys a little while ago, and exclusively, that actually Skydance really do want Legacy. That they're really pushing hard for Legacy because they consider that a really great way to kickstart a new era of Star Trek, an era under the Skydance owners. I also was able to tell you that actually Skydance, when they offered the opportunity for Secret Hideout to pitch ideas to them, which is happening now, those meetings are happening now, that they said, we want something that's either Legacy or with Jeri Ryan. Now, it seems like Secret Hideout have known that for a while, that they needed to do something with Jeri Ryan, not necessarily under Skydance, but I'm sure Paramount executives are telling them the same thing. She's one of the most popular actresses that have done Star Trek, and she's stunning. They really needed something with that, and we heard news, ages ago now, 18 months ago, that Jeri Ryan was pitched something, but she declined it because she basically said, look, that's not Legacy, I want to do Legacy. So, we know that Secret Hideout know this. We know that they haven't been able to negotiate anything with Jeri Ryan, and we know that they've not been able to get basically some sort of deal with maybe Matalis to do Legacy. As far as I'm aware, they're not pitching a Legacy idea to Skydance at the moment, even though they've been told to. So, what am I now hearing about Paramount and Skydance's plan for Legacy? Terry Matalis is in a prime position here. He's gone over to Disney. It's not an exclusivity deal with Disney, but he's got several projects he's working on for them. The first of those things is actually already done. We know that Terry Matalis, if he gets the opportunity to do Star Trek, will jump at it. I've seen interviews with him before, and he finished the project he was doing before he went over to Star Trek again, which I forget what it was. But he completed doing that. He messaged his agent and basically just said, the agent said, well, what do you want to do next? And he just replied, Star Trek, capital letters. So this is a writer-creator that is desperate to do this. My understanding is that Skydance, now Paramount, are very interested to do a complete restart of Star Trek. That they won't necessarily get rid of what has happened with Kurtzman Trek, but they want a fresh start. And they see that fresh start as Star Trek Legacy. Now, there is some problems with that, and they will have to do some sort of deal with Secret Hideout to allow them to do it, because there are certain elements of Legacy that are actually owned, in theory, by Secret Hideout. Anything original characters, etc., would technically be owned by Secret Hideout in a way. I had this explained to me once by an actual entertainment lawyer, and I have to admit, I didn't really understand it. But it basically boils down to, if the IP of Star Trek is owned by Paramount, but anything that Secret Hideout then do with it that's original, they technically own. Secret Hideout can never do anything with it because it's Star Trek, but Paramount can never do anything because it's Secret Hideout. So you get a bit of a catch-22. The thing is, though, most of what Legacy is doesn't include that. And definitely what was popular with Legacy, or the idea of Legacy, isn't a problem with that. Okay, Picard's kid, Jack, might not come back, but other than that, Paramount would be sweet. They would have no problems bringing back Legacy. The only thing is, they might have to redesign the Enterprise G, but most of us would probably be okay with that, because that's a stupid ship and it should never have been called the Enterprise. That's the main thing about Picard Season 3, and I lay this firmly at Matalis' feet. That was a bad idea, and you shouldn't have done it. Should have been called the Picard and just left the Enterprise for then, but they didn't do it. So I am being told by insiders that this is Skydance's plan, that they would absolutely love Legacy and they want it to be the flagship show that will restart Star Trek. And I actually think an awful lot of fans would be very much on board with that plan. There may be a bit of a break, because basically Paramount would not be able to start developing this show until the contract ends. So that means they will not be able to start negotiations until next summer with whoever they want to then do this. But CBS Studios would produce it. They own the sets. They own all of that stuff that would go with it, that would allow them to actually produce this show quite quickly once it was done. If they can get Terry Matalis on board, I actually don't think that development period would be very long, because I think he's been thinking about this for a very long time. And this is a writer that I think could get something done really, really quickly. So maybe we could get something on screen within 18 months of the deal ending. That would be, okay, pushing 2028, but to be honest, that time will fly by. We'll be on top of that before then. And if you think about it, by the time the deal ends next summer, we probably won't have had the 5th season of Strange New Worlds yet, and then we might just about be getting the 2nd season of Academy, even though you could argue that we don't really want it, but it might be good. Let's give it a chance. The thing is there that I actually don't think there would be a massive gap between the 2nd season of Academy, or I should say the 5th season of Strange New Worlds, actually, which would come after it, and potentially Legacy hitting our screens. Maybe 12 months. So that is something that we can, I think, get quite excited about. The main thing here that I want to point out, though, is if Jeri Ryan is on board, everything else can be built around that. There aren't any sort of characters in that, and especially considering there had been quite a big gap between what we saw at the end of Picard Season 3 and this new Legacy show starting. All of those actors that are from Picard Season 3 that are original, that are owned by Secret Hideout in theory, don't have to be in it. And I don't think we'll care. Also, though, at the end of the day, because there's been a bit of a gap, that can explain why there are differences. And again, though, if Terry Matalis just comes out and say, look, we're doing Legacy, it's our vision, but look, there are going to be differences because of this complicated contract agreement stuff, and okay, it'll break canon, but if they explain it to us, I think most fans, again, won't care. Even the fans that are really, like canon or nothing, won't care. So, for me, this is a no-brainer for Skydance. Draw a line under the Secret Hideout history. Draw a line under New Trek. And I don't care if you love it or hate it, most fans will admit it's been divisive. I mean, you can argue that when TNG started, it was divisive. When DS9 started, it was divisive. Voyager, blah, blah, blah. But all of that division, I think, just melted away within a couple of years. The division under New Trek has only got worse. And I think that's for a very good reason. Skydance are basically coming into this, and like many other projects, to be honest, they're going to want to stamp their ideas on Star Trek. They're going to want to move on from the Paramount they bought. They're going to want to do something new with Paramount because it's a business that desperately needs to make money quickly. One good way of doing that, one good way of drawing a line under the old Paramount and the new, is do something new with Star Trek, one of the biggest franchises they own. And hopefully bring Star Trek back to where it deserves to be, at the top of the sci-fi tree. But guys, get into the comments and tell me what you think. Does this plan make sense to you? If you were restarting Star Trek under new ownership, is Legacy where you would start? And does this mean they're going to get back to a proper Prime universe? No more prequels. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see a lot of these videos before everybody else while supporting the channel. Can't say fairer than that. As always, please stay safe and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.